Hey, there we are again. Look at this. Another Saturday morning. We've done this 82 times. We've been here on Saturday mornings over the last year and a half. And everybody's here. Everybody is here. Let the audience know where you're watching in the world. We have a worldwide audience, as we know. Good old Final Cut TV and coffee. Look what I have. Coffee. It's 12 noon here, but I'm still drinking coffee. I usually have, it's my second cup of the day. My morning cup is gigantic. You've seen that big cup that I have with Snoopy on it. Let me just pull that back out of my back there. What's happening in the world of Final Cut Pro? Well, let me tell you this. I ordered my iPhone 16 Pro Max on Friday. Let me pull that out of there. I want that. And it's coming next Friday. Ordered 9/13, and I get it on next Friday if things go as usual. Usually Apple presents a tracking number from China. It starts in China, and you can track it from China to, I think it goes to Hawaii, something like that, and then or Alaska. Maybe it's Alaska. It goes to Alaska, and then it comes to the East Coast of the good old USA. You can actually track it. But I should be getting it on September the 20th. I'm excited. I get a new iPhone every year. I mean, if they do any improvements to the video at all, I'll go ahead and get one. And it seems like they have. Have our first comment. Good day to you, Richard. Tell me where you are. You finish your sentence there. I don't know. I'm not familiar where you are. Let us know. We watchers, viewers from all over the world. We mostly talk about Final Cut Pro, but we also talk about other things, posts and stuff like that. Hello from New Jersey, where I'm watching you as I work on drywall in my bedroom. I do not envy you working on drywall. I've been around drywall. I've been in commercial construction my entire life. Well, not my entire life. All through the 90s and into the mid-teens, into the 2000s, I worked on commercial millwork, and I'm always around drywall work. And so I watch those guys. The finishers are pretty good, but I don't like being around drywall dust. That's for sure. And I'm not a big fan of doing drywall work because of the dust. Our friend Spot Lewis, hello from Philadelphia. There's somebody else on the good old East Coast of the good old USA, which very like it's fall weather out here right now. Everything's starting to turn. There's the backyard. Now, if you've ever saw my backyard before in this view, which I know some people have, there's a tree missing. There's a tree missing right over here, a big tree missing. And I got a video of what happened with that situation. Our good friend from Finland, Jari Ininen, good evening. It's evening over there. I think is an IBC happening this week or next week over in Europe, over in the European Union. I'm not sure which, but I've never been. Hello from Denmark. Looking forward to find out how you will find the improved microphones on the 16 Pro models compared with the current iPhones using external mics. I am going to do some experiments with that. They say they got studio quality mics. Now, Apple sometimes has a tendency to stretch things or I don't know if it's exaggeration, but they say things that aren't quite normal in the post industry. So studio quality mics, did they improve them from the 15? Probably. Now, did you know there's 4 microphones on an iPhone? Did you know there's 4 microphones on an iPhone? So they have one up here, one mic up here, 2 down here, one up here, 2 down here, and there's one microphone on the back. So when you're shooting this way, the person on this side of the camera can be heard with a tiny microphone. So one's up here, 2 down here, and 1 is in the back right there. I'm actually going to be doing some testing of microphones on my iPhone, another round. I've done some in the past, but I'm going to do mostly lapel mics that I've got, and I'm not going for high-end ones. I'm not going for $100 lapel mics. I'm going for $20, $25 range lapel mics. And I've got 3 or 4 that I'm going to try out, and I have one mic that's coming tomorrow that I'm really interested in. It plugs in via USB-C to the iPhone. It's a little shotgun mic, this big, but it's got 2 microphones, one on this side of the phone and one on this side of the phone. So not only will it pick up talent in front of the phone or this side of the phone, it'll pick up talent, me talking to the people in front with one microphone. So normally when I shoot, I either hold it like this or I have it on a gimbal, and I'm plenty close enough to the phone, me, that if I had a mic that sounded good and was pointed towards me, I wouldn't need a lapel. I wouldn't need a lapel mic. So I'll be curious of the quality of this one. It just plugs directly in. There's no cable involved. And it has a little shotgun for the front and one for the back. I'll be trying that out. I'm getting it tomorrow, and I'll be doing a test of microphones with my iPhone. Good day from the USA. Richard, I'm getting the black iPhone 16 Pro. We have to talk about the features. Should get by next Friday, so excited. I can't wait to try out camera control, etc. Yeah, the camera control was one of the features, to be honest with you, that convinced me to get the 16. Well, 4K 120 frames per second, slow-mo, and you can shoot that in log with an external drive or Dolby, whatever the heck that stuff is. So I'll be curious. This is my external drive right here. This little teeny thing plugs into the iPhone or the iPad or my MacBook Pro. This is 4 terabytes, Crucial X9. I got the X9 over the X10 because the X9 did better on the iPhone. The transfer rate was faster. So I got these for the iPhone. I have 2 of these, 2 4 terabytes. When I travel, I can empty my MacBook Pro. I can empty my iPhone out multiple times and make 2 copies. So I have 2 copies of it. X9, look how big this thing is. This is 4 terabytes. And it's pretty fast, about 1,000 megabytes a second. So it's pretty fast as well. So who else is getting a new iPhone? Now, some people just don't get iPhones every 3 or 4 years, which is completely fine, whatever your budget allows. My budget allows for me to get a new iPhone every year. I'm going to keep my iPhone 15 Pro Max. It's a fantastic camera. Apple offered me $650 for an iPhone that's less than a year old, top of the line, 1 terabyte. They offered me $650. Now it costs $1,500 or $1,600. So you're telling me this thing drops $1,000 in price in a year? Nonsense, Apple. That's ridiculous. You offer $650 for perfect condition iPhone 15 Pro Max that cost $1,600 last year, $1,599 or whatever. No way. No way. But I'm keeping it anyway. I'll sell this next year when the iPhone 17 Pro Max comes out. And then I'm always going to keep 2 iPhones because I use this all the time for all kinds of reasons. It's fantastic. And it has USB-C, and it's about 3/4 or so of what the iPhone 16 Pro Max is. But so many times I'm filming with the iPhone 16, my main iPhone camera, and I can't take a picture of the setup that I have very easily. So now I'm going to be able to, I'm always going to have 2 cameras. I'm not always going to have 2 with me, but when I go travel to NAB or to the Creative Summit, I am going to have 2 cameras with me, 2 iPhones, plus maybe my Lumix S5 Mark IIX. Waiting till November until I get new iPhone Pro Max. Absolutely. November's a good time. I only need 512, especially since you can connect hard drive SSDs. I got another SSD. They had a special on Amazon. This is, it looks like it's a flash drive, but it's actually an SSD in a flash drive form factor. Now I use it with one of these little connector dots, converts USB-A to USB-C, and plug this directly into my phone. This is 1 terabyte, and it's fast, up to 1,000 megabytes a second. It's really good. It's 1 terabyte. It's on sale for $76, something like that. So I figured I'd keep that for the phone as well. I haven't used anything beyond 24 frames on my iPhone 15 Pro Max, not because I want to know how to create cinematic movies, but because I want to capture as much light as possible in low light. Absolutely. I captured 24 frames for a long time. I switched to 30 just to standardize things, because live streaming, I like to do 30. YouTube, I like to do 30, where most of my stuff ends up. If I was doing a film, I would switch to 24 if I was doing all the footage. But I switched to 30, 29.97. The wired iPhone earbuds can be used as mics, and it's very good quality with proper placement. Yes, they can. Can you update about $20 mics and USB-C mic that you just mentioned you're going to buy? You can do video on cheap mics. We use iPhone audio mix. Got me curious about the quality could help save on mics. Well, I have a recording studio, so I have 50 microphones, studio microphones. Most of them are SM57s and SM58s, which has been the standard since the 1960s. But I have this one right here is a Neumann TLM 103. This is the same mic that Howard Stern uses on his radio show and has for years. Now, of course, he can afford any mic that he wants, but this is like $1,200. So I have plenty of expensive microphones. There's a couple of criteria when I use my iPhone mics. I love it when they plug directly in via USB-C without a cable. I really like that. I think the best quality mic for the iPhone that plugs in directly is a Shure MV88 Plus. I think that's the best quality, but it's not really a shotgun mic. I can always record myself because I'm usually close to the phone. But talent that's 4, 5, 6 feet away, I got to be able to get them. So I usually try to use a mini shotgun for the front, medium shotgun for the front. And I wear a lapel mic. As a matter of fact, do I have that here? I have a second set of, do I have that here? I must have taken it out. I have a second set of wireless lapels that I'm using that are pretty good. When I spec a wireless lapel, there's lots of them out there. But for me, it's got to have 3 features. It's got to record internally, so I have a safety copy inside the mic transmitter, number 1. Doesn't record internally, I'm not interested. I don't care about the quality or the price point. has to record internally as a backup or as a standalone recorder. Number 2, it has to accept a lapel microphone. Okay, it has to accept a lapel microphone, so I can use lapel if I want to. Those are at least two of the criteria when I'm looking at wireless connections. Now, I'm not talking about wireless, I'm talking about plugging lapel microphones in that aren't that much difference than just having like the DJI Wireless 2 on my lapel. So, the iPhone's coming out next week. In the past, last year, the week that the iPhones came out, they were announced. There was no Final Cut Pro update. But before the iPhone hit the public, so it was announced in early September, and then Final Cut Pro was updated the week that the phones came out. So I think the same thing's going to happen. I think that the phones are coming out next Friday, September the whatever date that is, the 20th? I think so. I expect an update to Final Cut Pro this week. Not a major update, just to tie it in to the features that the iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max have. Number 1 is that audio mix that they have. Let me see if I have a picture of that. I think I do. Yeah. So here is on the iPhone, as you can see down there, you have standard now. Let me pull myself over there. You have standard, in-frame, studio, and cinematic that you can choose from on the iPhone. On the iPhone for audio. Now, I don't know if this applies to external microphone audio that you capture. I presume it does. But you can choose standard, in-frame, studio, and cinematic on the iPhone 16 Pro Max now. Okay? In the current version of Final Cut Pro, you don't have access to those choices. I'm expecting an update to Final Cut Pro this coming week that's going to enable you to choose those audio configurations, those different configurations in Final Cut Pro. So it'll probably be 10.8.2, and I expect it to, iPhone's coming out Friday, so my guess is we're going to see an update to Final Cut Pro on Tuesday or Thursday. Thursday is the most common day. That would be the day before the iPhones come out, but it also could be Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever. Can you update about $20 mics and USB-C? Yeah, I'm going to do a tutorial on that, and I'll release it and I'll let you know. There's about 3 or 4 mics that I'm trying out. I'm using an ND filter in the daytime. I have ND filters for my iPhone for the moment, the M mount lens. But you know what? I'm not buying any more custom fitting cages. Okay, I made a mistake. Not a mistake. I bought a custom iPhone 15 Pro Max cage last year because it had the M mount. I never used the damn thing. I never used it. I'm just going to sell it. Number 1 is you can't, if you have a form-fitting cage, you can't get to that new button because the cage covers it up, at least the old cages. I ordered my iPhone 16 Pro Max up from a 13 Pro Max. That's a big, big jump. Looking forward to see the difference. Good coffee morning from Encino, California. Absolutely. I see that the iPhone 16 beta has eye tracking. I didn't hear about that. That's news to me. This mic stuff is interesting. Can you also update us on your wireless mic? You mentioned 2 features it must have. Yes. Well, first off, let me see if I have that here. So I have 4 wireless microphones in 2 sets. My favorite is the DJI Wireless Mic 2. And that has 2 transmitters, one for me, one for the talent. And you just plug the thing into the side of the phone. There's no cables. I don't want to plug in cables to the phone. I want to plug directly into the phone. So the receiver plugs directly into the phone, and then it has 2 transmitters, one for me, one for the talent in front. It records internally, 32-bit float or 24-bit, either one. And you can put a lapel mic into the transmitter. Those are the 2 criteria. I want to be able to record internally to the transmitter as a backup, safety copy, or just standalone. Just standalone. Don't have to be even connected to the phone. Just standalone, it records. Both transmitters. So the talent's getting recorded directly on a transmitter. Mine's getting recorded directly on a transmitter. And it's going, if I'm recording with my phone, it's going into the phone as well. So the two criteria, I think there's a third criteria. There is, but I can't think of what it is. There's a third criteria. But there's two main. You got to have, except a lapel microphone, it's got to record internally. So the Rode Wireless Pro does that. I had Rode Wireless Go 1 and 2, and I like them, but they're just clunky. They're big squares compared to the smaller form factor. They don't plug directly into the phone. You got to take a cable and wrap the cable around and plug that in. You need an app to access the files, at least you did and stuff. They have 2 identical pouches. It's physically clunky. The quality of the Rode is fine, but the form factor to me is really, really clunky. So I'm going to do a tutorial this week on 4 lapel microphones, and I'll bring in this new mic that I'm getting tomorrow that plugs in directly to the mic, and it has 2 microphones, one on the front and one on the back. See if that's going to be good enough to actually use in person. I don't know if the quality is good. I got to make sure it connects properly and all that. So I'm going to try that one, and I'll pull in this second, cheaper backup version of a wireless microphone that I have. Let me go get it real quick, just so you can see it. So, we know my trusty DJI Mike 2 kit. This is a great kit. It's one little pouch, but it has a superb charging case. Everything's right there. Everything lights up when you open up the thing. It's all charged and synced up for you. There's a touch screen on this. You can do adjustments. There's also a touch wheel. You can click and rotate the wheel to find things. But it has internal recording. I think it's 8 gigabytes of storage. It has a lapel microphone you can plug in there. And when you take this out, see, this is what I like. I don't want to plug no cable in to the phone for audio. I want to just do this. And done. I can see the levels on here. I have a touch screen that I can activate. It just plugs in via USB-C. No cables. I don't want to be plugging cables in when I can do this. A lot of things do this. So this is the DJI, of course. That's the big one that I've had. I had the DJI 1 and 2. They have a great form factor and everything, so I really like that one. But that's not the one I wanted to show you because you've seen that before. I wanted to show you this one. This is an imitation of the DJI system. It's a Fulaim, F-U-L-A-I-M X5. Look, it's just like the DJI, but this is my backup system. I don't use 4 microphones typically. Same thing. It has the little tiny transmitter. It's half the size of the DJI of the Rode. It's got a magnet. It's got a microphone input, so you can have a lapel mic right there, and you can record internally by just pressing and holding this button, and you'll see it'll start flashing red. Now that's recording internally to the microphone as well as to my phone. Now, the transmitter has a little, here we go. The transmitter's got a little USB-C thing you just click on like that, and then once again, this plugs in directly to the phone. So I don't have to use wires and cables plugging into my phone. It just snaps right in, and I can hold it whatever I want. I can see levels on it. This one's not quite as nice as the DJI system. This one's on sale on Amazon for like $80 right now. This system. So it's the same criteria. It'll take a lapel mic. There's a little hole right there, and it's recording internally. You can see the little red light blinking on. This is its own microphone. It's recording internally as well as broadcasting to the receiver that's plugged into the phone. So it makes a backup copy. Now this is only 16-bit, but that's okay. This is my backup system. The DJI is my primary. This is my backup. Turn that off. So that's the Fulaim. It's on sale. And the quality's pretty good. The quality is pretty darn good. And once again, this is a charging case. They obviously imitated the DJI system, and then of course I got one of these. You can plug the if you want to do interview style, which I do sometimes, and I don't feel like pulling out my Sennheiser microphone. I just put the DJI on here, and then I can hand hold and talk to somebody back and forth, if I want to do that in front of the camera. This has got a furry screen too, but it says Rode on it. It's not a Rode microphone, but you can. So it looks a little more professional. You can do it this way as well. All kinds of little gizmos and gadgets that I've got. Anyway, let's talk about what else is going on in the world. Let me catch up on some of these comments here. I haven't used the internal recording option on my DJI 2 properly because my videos are so short that I can record them if I mess up the recording. Right, I understand. Sometimes I just I recorded standalone. You hit a button that starts recording. If I want to take notes or something, I just click it on and I can do it. I have the Sennheiser MK400 boom for phone. I have used it for ENG. It does a great job, even outdoors when it's windy. And you can set focus on the front or both ends. They did a great job. I have that one as well. Richard, do you know why Apple still limits USB-C on iPhone to USB 2 on some models? That seems stupid. Well, I don't disagree with the stupid remark. It does. It's like they're limiting. This is the low end, not the Pro or the Pro Max. They're USB-C or even Thunderbolt speeds. USB 3 or Thunderbolt speeds. I guess it's because those phones, they're not expecting them to shoot ProRes log, which are very, very big files, and you need to transfer them. I can't imagine it would be that much. They're saving that much money. But they must be the USB 3 controller versus the USB 2 controller. I don't know why, and I agree with you. It's stupid. Richard, as always, I record to my Crucial X9 Pro when filming on my 15 Pro Max. I'm using Bluetooth with my DJI Mike for recording. Is it possible to use both mics via Bluetooth at the same time? No, because the phone doesn't have two Bluetooth channels. It has one Bluetooth channel. So you can only connect to one device at a time. So in order to record to two separate Bluetooth, you'd have to have something that has that can receive, that has two Bluetooth channels. This little amp back here has two Bluetooth channels. So I can control the amp with the Bluetooth with my iPhone app, and I can broadcast audio to it because it has two Bluetooth channels, but the phone only has one. Hello from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Thank you very much for tuning in, Daniel. We appreciate it. DJI looks amazing. What do I type in Amazon search? What is this DJI wireless called that you say it's $80 and I get one? It's not a DJI. DJI is $329 or something like that. It's I'll put up it's full aim. I'll type it in there in the comments. Let me go get the link. I'll put the link up here. Because let me see. Here we go. No, that's not it. Let me go up to my Amazon page. And I'll pull it up for you. And I'm saying I'm saying it's good quality. It's only records 16-bit, not 24. And because it's cheaper, you can expect not to have some of the features that the DJI or the quality of the DJI for the most part. Let me pull this up here. It's $80. It's $80. Here we go. It's full aim X5M wireless lavalier microphone system, 18-hour battery life, etc., etc. It records internally, and it has a lapel microphone you can plug in. And this can be used on either USB-C mic phones or Lightning. It has a connector for both. It has a charging case, etc. So it's $102, but you can apply $20 to get $20 off. So you get it for like $80. Am I recommending this? With reservations. With reservations. It's not my first choice. It's a backup. I have a backup system, so if I need it, if I need a backup wireless system, I have it. It's not my first choice. My first choice is the DJI Wireless 2, but that's $329. So as a backup, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You can use a lapel mic, which I haven't done with that yet. Here we go. What about a new Final Cut Pro update? I think, this is my guess, we're going to get a Final Cut Pro update this week before the iPhones come out. Now, it's not going to be a big feature update. I would be very surprised if it was. I'm not guaranteeing it's going to happen. I'm just saying the likelihood of it happening is better than not happening. I think this very, very possibly can happen. It happened last year. They announced the iPhone. They had the iPhone event. The following week, before the iPhone came out, was shipped, was available in stores, They updated Final Cut Pro specifically for new features in the iPhone. So I think the same thing's going to happen because there's features in the iPhone that are not in Final Cut Pro. When I showed you the audio mix feature that's in the iPhone, you can't access those settings in Final Cut Pro, the current version. Now, the other feature is this. People are a little bit confused. It's shooting the new iPhones shoot 4K 120 frames per second Apple ProRes log. It's not natively supported in the Final Cut Pro timeline at this point. It's not natively supported. So that could be something else they could be adding to Final Cut Pro for this coming week. Tuesday or Thursday, could be Monday or Wednesday. They could update Final Cut Pro this week before the iPhones get into people's hands. That's my speculation. I think it's very possible. They did it last year for iPhone features. They could do it again. Do you take into your purchase decision, your editing, video editing system, I think you mean? Editing ecosystem. I'm not sure what you mean. Purchases your editing ecosystem. Tell me what you mean there. I'm not sure what you mean. If Apple's going big on audio, they must improve audio meters. Yes, on Final Cut camera, it's ridiculously tiny. On iMovie for iPhone, it's very good. I agree with you. I have Mac Studio Max 2022 and iPhone 13 Plus, many Apple TVs. Moving to Apple AI, thinking must be carefully done OS upgrades. And do you remember the surprise disk burning removal got? Toast Pro, but will Mac OS Sequoia and iOS... be careful. Number one, back up your Mac, your iOS, back up Final Cut Pro, back up any important libraries, back up before you update. That's very, very important. Do we have any comments from X yet? People watching over there on X? Let me see. Yes, we had 55 people watching over on X. We've got Facebook comments, YouTube comments, people watching on X. Shoot me a comment so I can get a comment from X. 55 people watching over there on X, Twitter. So, very, very cool. So yes, I think the possibility exists What is video ecosystem? What is that? Ecosystem. You mean eco. I'm reading this as echo. Maybe you mean eco, ECO. Is that what you mean, Daniel? My video ecosystem? The echo was confusing me. I'm thinking, do I have echo on my audio? Is it echoing? I could switch a button. Yes. Yeah, ecosystem. Yes. My video ecosystem dictates everything else that I do. Everything that I do, all my buying decisions has to be something that's compatible with my video system. My MacBook Pro, Final Cut Pro, et cetera, et cetera. So if that's what you mean, yes, my ecosystem, Final Cut Pro, LumaFusion, DaVinci Resolve, whatever I buy, it has to be, good for those, especially Final Cut. But here's the thing. I have a recording studio. I have 50 microphones. Some of this, like I said, this one's $1,200. I have expensive microphones. I have expensive mixing boards, expensive audio recorders. But when I'm out with my phone, I want it to be mobile. I want it to be quick. I want it to just plug into the phone. I don't want it to do cables and draping all over the place. I want it to plug the thing for my whatever audio interface directly into the phone via USB-C. no cables, no muss, no fuss. That's one of the reasons I don't like the Rode system, because you got to run cables. You got to mount the thing somewhere, and then you got to run a cable to it. I don't like that. It's clunky. Not the quality. The Rode quality is fine. I've had them for a while, but it's just clunky. I should have said workflow. I understand. Once I figured it out, ads every 4 to 5 minutes too much. I have it on conservative. There's 3 settings for ads: conservative, medium, and then a lot of make the most money. I have it set on conservative. So I haven't seen an ad on my feed. It might be an issue for the YouTube app for iPhone. I think that's exactly. We've been through this before. You've had problems with the YouTube on an iPhone version. I'm watching the stream live, and I just haven't seen the ads at all yet. So every once in a while I'll get an ad running up. I don't think you get ads on X, on Twitter. I think the ads are only on YouTube. They're not on Facebook either. I didn't sign up for any kind of ads on Facebook, or I know they're not on Twitter. If you watch on X, Twitter, there's no ads, 0 ads, only on YouTube. But then again, YouTube does pay me. I've made hundreds of dollars on YouTube. They actually sent me a check. Google actually sent me a check. You got to sign up and give them all your tax information and all that. Yeah, a little bit leery, but I said, why not? I'll start making a little bit of money, a little bit of coffee money. Speaking of coffee money, you can support me by going over here and buymeacoffee.com. Over there, people have been buying coffees, and it supports me. It makes a difference. There we go. Very good. So it's buymeacoffee.com/Richard Taylor. That's where it is. Nothing wrong with monetizing and earning money for work. It gives me a little bit of spending money, coffee money. I'll probably make $1,000, $2,000, whatever. I mean, I don't make a living off of it, but it helps. I mean, when I go to NAB, when I go to the Creative Summit, airfares $600 to $1,000, hotel rooms, et cetera, food, Ubers, taxis, whatever you take, it all adds up. So in order for me to report from these places, I need some monetary support. Let's look at the backyard again. So I want to, while we got people watching, let me grab a drink here. Now, see that red dogwood tree, and pay attention to, I'm going to play something for you. Pay attention to this area right up here, all the way at the top. There used to be a big 100-foot oak tree there. It's no longer there. It was dying and dropping big branches. So let's go over here and look at this. This is what I had done this week. There's the red dogwood tree that you just saw in the backyard live. This is an amazing process, taking a large oak tree. That tree is very, very tall, probably about 120 years old. This is the guy, the main guy going up in the tree. So I'm going to put a movie up of the whole process, but I just want to play a little bit from it. Hello from Little Center, Ohio. Thanks, Steve. I think this is the first time you've been tuning in, at least that I know of by your name. I used to have relatives in Ohio, Cleveland. What's the name of that amusement park up there? I forget what it's called. Don't forget to subscribe over there on the YouTube channel. Hi, newbie here with iPhone, high quality video. In highest quality, do you and others record directly to your SSD? Does the drain the battery quickly? Using the Sony FX3, but not phone, but interested. So, there's a couple of things, Scott. I have a Panasonic S5 Mark II X as my main production camera, and I have a set of prime lenses for it. It's really great in low light. So I use that. I shoot in 6K open gate when I shoot that a lot of times. But as far as recording directly to my SSD, it's you got to plug it in. You got to make sure it's working and everything. You can, but I got the 1 terabyte SSD on the phone, so I don't have to. I can shoot for an hour or so, even at the highest quality. Now, the highest quality by far is Apple Log, and it's the best codec to shoot on the iPhone. It's really, really good. Now, with the phone, I use the Blackmagic camera app, which is free, because I can load a LUT in there, and I can preview with a LUT if I shoot log, or I can actually burn the LUT in. So when I want to shoot the highest quality, I shoot Apple ProRes Log. Hands down, it's the best. If you don't want to bother with that, just shoot regular. I use the Blackmagic camera app for a lot of reasons. It's a great app. It's free. It's more advanced. It's better than the Apple Final Cut camera app for 3 reasons. Number one is the Apple camera app, Final Cut camera app, there's no support for LUTs. It shoots Apple Log, but you can't import a LUT, you can't preview with a LUT, and you can't burn the LUT in if you wanted to. Why have Apple Log if you can't have LUTs built in? I expect that to be forthcoming. Number 2 is, with the native Apple camera app, once I start recording, I can switch cameras and lenses as much as I want to. The cameras and lenses button, they're still available in record mode. So I can press this film, this camera, I can press that lens, this camera, and I can switch back and forth. It's like zooming in optically while it's recording on the native Apple camera app. The Final Cut camera app, you can't do that. As soon as you hit record, the lenses go away. There's no choice. You have to stop recording, choose a new lens, and then start recording again. So you lose 3 to 5 seconds every time. With the native Apple camera app, you don't have to do that. You don't lose anything. You can just switch, like zooming in and out with the regular camera. That's 2 reasons. The third reason is the only version of Apple ProRes Log on both the Final Cut camera app and the native camera app is ProRes HQ, which is a very, very large file size. So unless you're shooting a movie or something, and you can get the files off of your phone on a regular basis, it's too much. The file sizes are too big. Blackmagic camera, now once again, it can be done. I don't know why Apple doesn't do it. The Blackmagic camera app, you can shoot H.264 in Apple Log, H.265 in Apple Log, and 4 flavors of ProRes. ProRes Proxy, ProRes LT, regular ProRes, and ProRes HQ. You're not restricted to that high quality but high data rate of ProRes HQ like you are with the Apple versions. Final Cut camera app needs to have all ProRes options only. Now, I'd like to see it have H.264 and H.265 for Apple Log as well. For the times, and I want to shoot Apple Log, but I don't want the high data, but I still want it, H.264 and H.265. And that's with the free Blackmagic camera app. If Blackmagic can do it on the iPhone, Apple can do it on the iPhone. Yes, exactly. All ProRes and H.264 and H.265. Now, the downside of the Blackmagic version of H.264 and H.265, it's the data rate's kind of low. It's like 30 megabytes per second. I'd like to see either that variable, or you can choose 50 or 100 megabits per second to get up there a little bit higher in quality. But still, because ProRes HQ is very, very high data rates. You'll fill your phone up in an hour if you shoot for an hour in Apple ProRes Log and ProRes HQ. You'll fill it up in an hour. When you choose the ProRes HQ option, when you're filming and you're choosing the ProRes HQ option, you just click on this little setting right here. It says ProRes HQ. It tells you how much time you have. So I have a maximum time of 12 minutes on the 1 terabyte. Now I have 600 gigabytes filled up, so that's why. I only have 12 minutes because it's stuck on ProRes HQ instead of giving me other options. So of course I wouldn't shoot that. Most stuff I do just ends up on YouTube, but I still like shooting in ProRes ProRes Log, Apple ProRes Log. It's a great codec for a phone, but that's why I use the Blackmagic camera app. I can choose H.264, H.265. Thank you for the thumbs up. It's appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe over there. I agree. 100 megabits a second max seems a sweet spot. But I think the Blackmagic camera is about 30. So can I tell? I like it to be higher. I just like it to be higher than 30. So 100's pretty nice. You get really good quality. And the quality is fine, but I just like to have a higher data rate version for H.264 and H.265 Apple Log I'm talking about. I think the Apple version, just the straight H2, when you're shooting on this, is about that, 30 maybe, but it's not log footage, so. But anyway, I'm thinking we're going to see Final Cut Pro 10.8.2 this coming week. I think there's a good possibility of that. Let me see if I have that here. Nope, I don't have that. I do not have that. But I think there's a good possibility. Well, if I had to bet on it, I'm not sure. I think there's going to be an update to Final Cut Pro for the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Last year, they put it out right before the Pro Max was available to the public. The 16 Pro and Pro Max is available on September the 20th. I think that's the date. Let me just double check. Yes, September the 20th. I'm supposed to get my iPhone. I'm thinking we're going to see an update to Final Cut Pro on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. Just with iPhone updates, iPhone compatibility updates, that's all. Anything beyond that it would be excellent, but I don't think so. I think just the iPhone, they'll tie into the iPhone. Yep, fingers crossed. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would like a USB-C hub with at least 2 ports with space wide enough between them for me to be able to add the DJI transmitter with my SSD drive at the same time. To be continued. Well, let me see if I have that here. Yeah. Four USB-C ports. USB-C plugs into the phone, and I got 4 USB-C ports. Now, the thing is, you have to mount this. You got to mount this somewhere. And it's fairly reliable. I plug my DJI Mike into there, my receiver into there, and an SSD. I've done it in the past. I wouldn't trust it on mission critical, though. Broadcast HD XAVC is 50 megabits second and long up and is 4K 30 around 100. Yeah, there you go. That sounds like a good deal. But the hub must be connected directly to the phone without dangling from a cable. I haven't been able to find one though. So they're coming out with a few, but when I do it, I don't. I've been doing it for about a year. Let me go over here and I'll pull this up for you. Show you how I do it. This is how I do it. This is one of my videos. It has 9,000 views, 160 thumbs up on it. So I attach it to a little handle with my gimbal and just plug it in directly to, well, actually you know what? That's not the right one. That's just the hard drive. I have another one. Hold on a second. But that video has 160 thumbs up and 9,000 views. Let me get the right one here. That was the wrong one. Here you go. This is the right one. What the heck did I click on? Here you go. So this has the DJI Mike plugged in, the Sennheiser MKE 400 plugged in, Well, in the Belkin 4-in-1 USB-C dock, which is what I just showed you, plugged into my iPhone on a gimbal and an SSD drive. That's how I do it right now. Here's the SSD. So that's how I do it right now. I think people are coming out with solutions that connect directly into the phone without the extra port, without the extra handle that I have. However, I always use a gimbal when I'm shooting. I don't use cages. I don't like cages. They're handheld and they're shaky. I don't care how good you are. I use a gimbal with my iPhone with no cage. If I need a heavier setup, I have a heavier gimbal with the iPhone cage, which is a much bigger iPhone cage, and I can attach lights and all kinds of things to it. For most of my mobile stuff, it's that gimbal. I got to use a gimbal. It's much, much steadier than hand holding. Plan to buy DJI wireless mic. Already have 2 external iPhone mics. Use the new audio mix, Lightning, iPhone, natural, blah, blah. Keep it short and simple. Absolutely. What Final Cut Pro editing will come to the iPhone Pro? There's 2 features. Number one, 120 frames per second 4K Apple log slow-mo. It's not supported in Final Cut Pro yet, directly, natively. And the iPhone audio mix that has, you can choose 4 different ways to select the audio. Not just, you don't just have one background remover. I already put that up, right? That's not it. Here. So notice over here, this is the iPhone. It has standard, in-frame, studio, and cinematic choices for the audio. You don't have that option. It's called audio mix. You don't have that option in Final Cut Pro. If you record that on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, that video, you have no way of accessing those audio options in Final Cut Pro. Doesn't exist in the current version of Final Cut Pro 10.8.1. Last year, the iPhone event happened in September, with the phone arriving in people's hands a week later. Between the iPhone event and the arrival of the iPhone, they updated Final Cut Pro with features that the new iPhone 15 Pro Max had that Final Cut Pro did not have. So if you record on your iPhone 16 Pro Max and those audio features are available on your phone and they're not available in Final Cut Pro, the professional application, I don't think so. I think they're going to update Final Cut Pro next week with the ability to access those audio features, with the ability to have native support in the timeline. Final Cut Pro 120 frames per second Apple ProRes log. That doesn't exist in Final Cut now, but it exists on the new iPhones. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, will Final Cut editing come to the iPhone and not the camera app, but Edit Suite like the one on the iPad? I don't think so. LumaFusion, yes. You can do LumaFusion. $29, you can edit on your iPhone. One price, iPad, iPhone, Android, Chromebooks, and the iPad version runs on M1 Silicon Max. It runs on Max even for one price. No subscriptions. I'm not going to subscribe to Final Cut Pro for $5 a month. $5 a month is very reasonable price. I'm not going to do it. This is what my subscriptions look like. They're all over the place. I don't want any more subscriptions. I want fewer subscriptions, Apple. You don't need $5 a month from me. Let me buy it. If you let me buy it, I would buy a copy. Tell me it's good for 2 years. Tell me it's good for 3 years, 4 years. That's fine. After that, we'll have to buy it again. That's fine. I don't want another subscription. Is the Final Cut for iPad subscription model a lost cause? Is it here to stay? Probably. It's a source of, a small source of revenue, but listen to your customers. I'm one of your customers. I'm not going to get a subscription to Final Cut on the iPad. I ain't going to do it. I want to be able to buy a perpetual license or a 2-year license or a 3-year license. I don't even care if it's the same amount of money. That's not the point. The point is, suppose Apple said, $50, $100, you get Final Cut for the iPad for 2 years. After 2 years, you don't get any updates until you either buy it again or subscribe. That's fine. At the end of the 2 years, the app still works. If I don't update the app still works. It just don't get the updates. Right now, you have to pay the Apple $4.99 ransom every month or the app stops working. I absolutely hate that subscription model. I hate it. I'm not going to support Apple on that $4.99. Very cheap price. I'm not going to do it. First off, I got Final Cut Pro on the iPad. On my MacBook Pro. 13 years I've had it. I paid $2.99 for it. I don't mind if they charge for Final Cut Pro 11, whatever they want to do. I don't think they're going to, but because they didn't with Logic Pro. They went from 10.8 to Logic 11. They didn't charge anybody for it. Give us the option to buy the iPad version, then I would try it out. For pro videography, I use Sony XD-Cam. Yep. Run and gun, I use iPhone, mostly all Final Cut Pro. Yes, absolutely. For professional, I use my Panasonic S5 Mark II X. And I have a bunch of lenses for it. And I have Pro XLR audio that goes into it. I can get a mixing board in there, whatever I want. So that's what I would use. But I still use my iPhone as B-Cam. Can you do line drawing with LumaFusion like the feature on Final Cut? You can't. And you know why you can't? Because LumaFusion has feature parity with their iPad version and their iPhone version. And since you can't draw on an iPhone, they're not going to put that feature in on the iPad only. They have 100% feature parity between the iPad and iPhone. You can draw on an iPad, you can't draw on an iPhone. So until you can draw on an iPhone, you're not going to see that available probably in LumaFusion. I'm also against subscription. The worst case, the app falls dead in some case. I don't think it's going to fall dead. $4.99 sucks. I like the app, but $4.99 it's a downer. Let me buy it for $49 for a year or 2 years. But you can say it's only good for 2 years. The license is good for 2 years. At the end of 2 years, you either have to buy a new version or you have to subscribe, but the app doesn't stop working at the end of the 2 years. I'm just froze at the version of the app that I have. That's all. $4.99 is not that much. I hear one of my cats out there. Oh, she gets this little toy that she likes, and she starts meowing. Fall dead in the sense stop working. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yes. I don't like that way of doing things. Companies that do that, like Adobe, Apple, don't follow in Adobe's steps. Don't kill the app if you stop paying. That's a ransom. That's a complete ransom. $4.99 a month is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you got $4.99 a month for this. You got $4.99 a month for Logic, blah, blah, blah. Plus, Final Cut is better on the MacBook Pro and the Mac. It's just a better experience. I have LumaFusion. I edit on that all the time. I really like it. Listen to your customers. I'm a customer. I don't want subscription. I want to buy it. Listen to me. Lots of customers would buy it rather than pay the subscription. If you don't give us the ability to buy it, you're not listening to your customers. You're listening to this. Listen to your customers. We want to be able to buy Final Cut on the iPad for a one-time price. I'm really considering buying a gimbal for my iPhone. Any recommendations, Richard? I absolutely. At this point now, the thing is, the new iPhones just came out. There could be new gimbals coming out. At this point, there's one of two that I would buy. The DJI OM6, but my first choice is the Insta360 Flow gimbal. They have a Flow Pro now, which just came out. It's the better of the two. I've had the DJI, but I like the OM. The Insta360 Flow is my favorite one for a lot of reasons. But it's lightweight. It's easy to use. It holds the weight of the iPhone. As a matter of fact, let's go back over here a second. Hey, everyone. So I just did a video to see if the iPhone 16 Pro works on the Insta360 Flow. Here you go. I just did this. And I know why you're here. You want to know if your brand new iPhone 16 Pro Max will fit in your Insta360 gimbal. I've got the answer. The answer is yes, it will. Let's break down the specs. The Insta360 gimbal will take a maximum width of 84 millimeters. The iPhone 16 Pro Max is 77.6. The Insta360 gimbal will take a thickness up to 10 millimeters, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max is 8.5 millimeters. The most important spec is the weight. The Insta360 gimbal will handle up to 300 grams of weight, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max, 227. My name's Richard Taylor, and I'll see you the next time. Hey everyone, I know why you're here. You want to know if your brand new So here's the Insta360. It has a magnetic clamp. I feel like a salesperson. This is not sponsored. Has a magnetic clip. You just put it in there and you clip it on. And it takes you do a rough balance first. You do a rough balance. You clip this on. The Rode Wireless Go snaps in there. Just do a rough balance so it's approximately balanced. And then you turn it on. And as long as you're close, everything's fine. You can shoot vertically or horizontally, of course. It also has a built-in selfie stick. And so you can get it a little further away from yourself, etc., etc. You can rotate it with a joystick. This is my favorite the DJI is really nice too, but I like this one a little better. Has a bigger battery. It has, I don't know, a couple of other things. When I get a gimbal for my phone, if the gimbal blocks the USB-C port, I won't consider it. They make gimbals that don't block the USB-C port. The arm doesn't come up here and block this. I got to be able to access the USB-C port for either charging or for my iPhone. So it's really nice. It's my favorite at this point. Now, if they come out with a new one, they have a Pro. This is not the Pro version. I didn't update because I don't need to. But they have a Pro, so that's my recommendation. Either the DJI OM6 or this Insta360. Once again, it just has a little magnetic clip on it. You just pull that off. And the other thing is, I balanced it with the case. I don't have to take the case off of my iPhone. Did you notice that? It's a thin case, but I don't have to take the case off because I don't want to take the case off every time I put my phone in a gimbal. So that's my recommendation. Number one is don't buy a gimbal that blocks the USB-C port. A lot of them come up there along the side of the phone. The OM5, the DJI OM6, and the Insta360 Flow do not block the USB-C port or your Lightning port. So that's what I like. Plus, the weight of this is 300 grams, as I showed you in the one video. All right, let me just see here a second. I'm just going to check. Yeah, you got a lot of people watching over there on X. X people, send me somebody make a comment over there on X. Got 85 people watching on the X platform right now. That's nice. We're going to reach 100 people, live viewers at this point. Here you go. Nobody, our friend from the X platform, says, I got here late. Absolutely. I'm starting at 12 noon. What you did? You didn't sleep in, did you? Didn't sleep in, did you? So what else is going on in the world of Final Cut Pro? Well, of course, we have the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit happening. So people that are watching this live stream that are new, go over there and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you don't mind, and you can always give a thumbs up. He said he missed the notification. I usually post both the YouTube stream and, is it on? Yeah, it's on X because you're watching it on X, yeah. I usually post both the YouTube stream and the X stream. The X stream doesn't have any ads that I know of. YouTube is the only place that has ads. I don't think the Facebook page has ads either. Let me just pull up Facebook. Got people watching over there as well. Let me just go over here and look. I'll look on the main page. So this is interesting. Facebook changes your icon. Facebook changes your icon on Facebook when you're live. It puts this up. This is what it says when you're live. So I'm live, and it says I'm live on Facebook. Now, smartphone videography and Final Cut Pro 10 open a new world of creations. Yes, it's a great combination. I mean, Apple's done a great job. They've added a dedicated button for the camera on the new iPhone 16. I mean, is that major? No, but it's pretty darn cool. You have a new button right here That's a camera function button. Well, it's an indentation. It's not actually a button. And it feels like a button. It's got haptic feedback, but it's more like a little trackpad. So you can click that, the camera comes right up, and then you can also double click or lightly click, and you have other options on the screen now where they're camera specific. So that's the deal. That is the deal. So let's see if we get Final Cut Pro 10.8.2 this week. I think we very well might. Let me just do this. Let's pull this up. All right, very, very cool. We got 100 live viewers right now. Let's take this off and let's put this over. Look at that, 100 live viewers right now. Very, very cool. That's what this is right there. It says 101. I can watch this inside of Ecamm Live. It tells me the live viewers and the breakdowns that we have. So that's very, very cool. I like it when we get that many. So is there any good television right now? I'm watching, let me just do this real quick. I'm watching Slow Horses on Apple TV. The new season just came up, and is there something else on Apple TV? Oh, no, not on Apple TV. They have the new season of From starting in next week or the week after. FROM. If you're fans of Lost, the TV series, Michael from Lost is the main character, and Carlton Cuse, one of the co-producers of Lost, he's involved with this TV show as well. I pre-ordered and already have a case. I have 3 cases I ordered from Amazon, and I'm going to return 2 of them, and I'll keep 1. 3 cases, a screen protector, and a back lens protector. I like thin cases, but I like them to be, if you drop your phone, you got to have ridges around the front and ridges around the lenses so you don't break things. Well, I've dropped it a few times over the last year, but I'm keeping my iPhone 15. I'm keeping it. It's great, great camera. I buy it for the camera. It's a great camera. Is Apple waiting for the Mac event in October to update Final Cut Pro? I don't think so, because that means people that are going to have iPhones are going to have to wait a month for Final Cut Pro to catch up to the iPhone release. So last year they updated it the week after the iPhone came out. They updated it, Final Cut Pro, for the new features in the iPhone. Update in October, big jump in creative in November. Yes, I think listen, nobody tells me anything. Nobody gives me the inside scoop on what I'm going to talk about now. I do get information that I can't reveal, that I won't reveal. Sometimes. I have no information about this whatsoever. I think they're going to give us Final Cut Pro 11 at the Creative Summit. If not Final Cut Pro 11 as a release, maybe a preview, Final Cut Pro 11, or a big jump in Final Cut Pro 10.8.5, Final Cut Pro 10.9. It doesn't make any sense for them to go to 10.9. Logic went from Logic 10.8.1. It had Logic 10.8 came out in November of last year. 6 months later, it jumped to 11. It went from 10.8 to 11 in 6 months. Final Cut Pro 10.8 came out in June. The Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, we get to see the Final Cut Pro team in person. We get to talk with them, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to have something new to show us. It very well could follow in the footsteps of Logic Pro. What Logic did, it went from 10.8 to 11 in 6 months. Final Cut Pro 10.8 came out in June. A little less than 6 months is the Creative Summit, so they could give us a preview of Final Cut Pro 11, but we can talk about it in public. And then it comes out in December, whenever they want to do it. So it's a very good possibility. It's just like Logic Pro. Logic Pro did it. Why wouldn't Final Cut follow the same? I got one with a folding lens cap. Folding lens cap. You mean it covers it up completely? I got the plastic, clear plastic. I have it on here too. There's a plastic screen protector on my lenses. So, and I got a lens protector on here as well. As opposed to a sliding shutter cap. I don't have either one of those. I just have a screen protector that's clear. It's right here. It covers the whole lens area. It's clear. It's always on there, so if you drop it or whatever, it's good. Very nice. Does anybody have any comments about the iPhone or Final Cut Pro? Do you think we're going to see Final Cut Pro 10.8.2 this week? I do. Possibility exists. I got used to having it from working in a secure workplace. I worked at the National Archives in Washington, D.C. I was a post supervisor down there for 8.5 years. My edit suite was up on the 5th floor, right in the middle of a high security area. There are skiffs all around me. Both sides of me, there are skiffs. Secure workplaces. If I go into a skiff, they collect your phone. You don't get to take it in whether you have a lens cap on it or not. That's the way it's worked for me with the federal government. They just you have a basket at the front, put your phone in here. We keep the phones outside. Lens cap didn't make any difference in my situation. B, Final Cut Pro 11 more compatible with Logic Pro 11, less round trip. I don't see that happening at this point. Maybe, but at some point, they got to stop using XML. XML is old technology. They got to develop something like Blackmagic has. Blackmagic has all their apps open at once, and you just select a tab to switch from the edit page to the audio page, to the color page, to the fusion page. No XML back and forth. So you have a media ingest page, you have a cut page, you have the edit page, you have the fusion page, you have the audio mixing page, and then you have the color page. You can start in the edit page, and anything you do to the other pages, it automatically updates everywhere. No exporting XML, importing XML, exporting XML. Blackmagic is the best way to do it. Just secret clearance, also sticker on front of camera. Worked with pre-grant patents, I understand, but the federal government doesn't allow cameras, period. You can't take your phone into these skiffs. Can't. Doesn't make any difference about caps. Lens caps or covers. You can't take your phone in these places. They collect them outside. They'll do a search or whatever. And you got to. Now, I wasn't involved with the secret information I wasn't involved with the secret information that they were discussing, although I was around it sometimes. I had clearance. Well, I would set up audio and video in there, or my crew would go in there and set up audio video support for them to do PowerPoints and stuff. That's usually the reason I was in there. Sometimes we filmed the archivist. Many times we filmed the archivist, 2 different archivists when I was there. So if you're in a SCIF area, you can't take your phone inside. Nobody can. The archivist can't, nobody can. So I'm not sure. It's a little different. I didn't have top secret clearance, but I had clearance. You have to in order to work at the National Archives, as you might imagine. One of the things we had a 300-seat, we have a 300-seat theater at the Archives, one in Washington, D.C., right down there halfway between the Capitol and the White House on Pennsylvania Avenue. 300-seat theater, it holds 300 people. It actually, you could project digital files or you can use film. They had film projectors in there. But we did 100 shows a year on average in the theater. And it's usually politicians or it's book authors. Sometimes it's TV show personalities. Dick Cavett was down there. J.J. Walker was down there. I'm not sure why each one of them were there, but they were there. I got to meet them. But I would do live sound for these events. We would shoot to multicam, 3 cameras typically, shoot them. And then important events, I would edit it down. We had a switched version, and then we had the 2 or 3 cameras. And so we do a Final Cut multicam and edit them, but not every one. Sometimes just use a switched version. Last year, I went to a press conference at an FBI field office. No wireless devices of any kind are permitted. They're strict about it. We were in a room near the entrance. Yes, exactly. So I did live sound. I was the live sound person when I was down there because everybody else was, they're afraid of live sound because of feedback and all kinds of stuff. I've been doing sound for 30 years, so I know about sound. I have a recording studio and live sound. President Obama at that time when I was down there, he was there. They didn't use wireless microphones. Normally we use wireless microphones in the rotunda. They didn't use the White House AV crew did not use wireless microphones. They wouldn't use them. They used wired SM57s. 2. You've seen the setup all the time. The 2 wireless 57s are pointed toward the president, so no matter which way he turns, he's being picked up by a wired microphone. So we had 2 wired SM57s. We had to run the wires all the way around and come back to the board. But anyway, I did live sound for that. So I know what you're saying. They don't use wireless, at least they didn't then. Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro with Final Cut Pro will make pro users unhappy. Any idea why Apple waiting to do it? It's just probably the way they built each of them. XML is just clunky. It's very clunky, and it doesn't work that well. You know, when people say that do you export an XML, it doesn't have as much information as the Final Cut Pro library has. It's missing a lot of information. It's a scaled-down version of the library. Are there any 32-bit wireless mic setups you recommend as comparable to DJI, or if budget no issue, would just recommend DJI? Well, DJI or Rode are the 2 that I'd recommend. quality, the DJI or the Rode are both good quality. The Rode is fine. Rode is just clunkier. The physical nature of the way they set it up is clunky. You can't plug a Rode receiver directly into the phone. You got to mount the receiver somewhere and then run a USB-C cable into it. I don't like that. It's bigger than the DJI. Transmitters are bigger. They're square. They're harder. They're just bigger. The cases, there's two separate cases. They have two cases similar to this, but you open it up and they're just sitting in there. They don't have one of these. When I open this DJI Mike case up, everything lights up. You can see the charge status on the outside. Everything lights up. The Rode is nothing. You unzipper the case. It's a soft pouch, and there's nothing there. Just the things are the actual receivers. They don't have one of these. And there's two pouches. Two of these pouches for the Rode system. They look identical. You can't tell which is which. So there's a lot of physical things. Is the reason I like the DJI better. Smaller, more compact. It's a better case. Plugs directly into the phone. Both of them do 32-bit wireless. Those are one of the two I would recommend. But I like the DJI. I don't want the Rode. It's too clunky. I'm late today. Hi, Sean. How you doing? Glad you could make it. Regardless of location, indoor or outdoor, virtually every news crew in New York, New Jersey will either connect to a multi-box, that's right, box, or run an XLR cable during the press conference. No uses wireless. The same as that, the National Archives. We always had a malt box. We always had a malt box for people to plug directly in. Those are with the big traditional cameras overhead. Yeah, they don't use wireless very, very rarely. They have a malt box, plugged in XLR microphones or whatever. But I'm talking about just run and gun. I'm just talking about run and gun with my iPhone, not using a big professional setup. Two different things. Richard, have you tried to transfer your phone video shooting using Wi-Fi as limited to USB 2 on some phones? I don't have a USB 2 phone. The last one I had with my iPhone 14 Pro Max, that was Lightning, so that was USB 2 speeds. Yeah, you can use AirDrop. It's a little quirky, doesn't work all the time. You have sometimes you have problems with it. Dropping, you select a bunch of files and you come back and it's failed. So I like plugging in personally. Like this. This is a 1 terabyte drive. It's on sale on Amazon right now. So I can take this, plug this into my iPhone like this, and go to the Photos app or whatever app and just transfer to the Files app. This will show up in the Files app, and just drag and drop things over, direct connect. It's very fast. It's much better than the AirDrop is good, but it's unpredictable. It's unpredictable. Sometimes I've transferred files and come back 10 minutes later, the transfer failed. No explanation why, no explanation on what to do different. So I like the physical connection better. I like the physical connection better. Look at this. We had 101 people watching. Look what we have now. 123. 125, actually. That took just a few minutes ago. Thank you very much. That's very cool. I really like that. I do these. This is 82 or 83 of these shows, over a year's worth. Every Saturday we've been here. I come here for your comments. The Final Cut Pro team watches this live stream. I just subbed for Cine Studio for Motion VFX. It's really good. Okay. That's my point. News crews don't want to take any chances with wireless, which they all carry. They use XLR. Well, I'm not disagreeing with you. We did plenty of press conferences at the National Archives when I worked down there. We always had a wired malt box. Malt box is just a snake and a cable going back. We always had that. But when I'm doing run and gun, I'm not going to carry a wired XLR microphone with me. I'm not going to do that. I want to be light and portable, completely wireless. The quality is fine. But I'm not a news crew. I'm not a news crew. So, don't disagree with you, but it's two different setups. I've seen news crews do wireless handheld microphones when they're doing an interview situation, but not for a press conference. This wasn't a press conference I'm talking about. This was just his little speech he gave about something. I don't even remember what it was. But I mixed sound for it. Little late myself from our friend Brett from Brett FX. You know what? Look at this. Brett's just in time. Brett has a new plug-in, Speech to Bubble, brand new. Just came out. $45 customizable speech bubbles for Final Cut Pro. And look at this. Normally $30. Right now it's only $20. You can't beat this. $20. Speech to Bubble for Final Cut Pro. Brett FX, BRETFX.com, products speech bubble. I met Brett at the Final Cut Pro Creator Summit last year. I don't know, Brett, are you coming this year? Sean Breckner says, I bought you to plug in for way too much eye candy. Oh, you have to plug your products somewhere. I always plug them on Final Cut Pro, our Facebook page and on the live streams, especially when you show up and remind me to plug. You didn't remind me. I had it ready to go. $20, man. It's a steal. You can't. It's a great price. Now, Brett, are you coming to the Creative Summit this year? I met you last year. You were surprised. I told you I have some of your plugins. You were surprised that I was using your plugins. Why? I'm not sure why, but you could make good plugins. Sean Beckner says the Google Earth one, yes. Brett says, haven't bought his ticket, but everyone should go. Well, I don't think everyone can go. I think they can probably take care of 150 people, maybe 200 at the hotel. But back at the Juniper. The Juniper is a whole different experience than the Creative Summit last year, where we were 1 mile away. There's no Ubering back and forth to the place where we have presentations. It's all there in the Juniper Hotel. They have the rooms where you have the presentations. Everybody usually stays in the hotel. So it's much better. And I asked them, well, they got us back there. So that's really cool. Very cool. But Brett says he plans on going, though, so that's cool. Yeah, you have like 2 months to sign up yet. And there is a discount, by the way. If you go to sign up, there is a discount code. Do I have it here? Yeah, here we go. Use code FCP Alumni for 15% off at checkout. That is very cool. I'll have Final Cut Pro Radio one as well. Let me see. We got 125 people watching live. Something like that. It's a lot of people for these live streams. We're here every Saturday. Every Saturday we're here, 126. Every Saturday, 12 noon, Final Cut TV and coffee. We talk about Final Cut Pro in post. As a matter of fact, I'll stay on for another 10 minutes, and then I'm going to get out of here. 2 hours is about my limit. We've been on for 1 hour and 50 minutes at this point. The Final Cut Pro team watches this. The Final Cut Pro team watches this live stream. Okay? They watch the live stream. Hello? Yeah. This is Richard. Don't talk so much about the Final Cut Pro team watching. Why wouldn't I want to? Okay. I won't say that the Final Cut Pro team's watching. So yeah, we're live right now. Now I won't say who you I won't say who you are. Don't worry, I never do. But are we going to see an update to Final Cut Pro this week? Next week? Before the phone comes out? Or I won't say anything. I won't say, listen to my words, I won't say anything. I won't say anything. Okay. And then we're probably going to see something at the Creative Summit in November. Yeah, that's good if you have something to show the attendees of the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. It always makes that summit special. Really? Well, that's great. That's fantastic. All right, I got to get back to the live stream because people are commenting and stuff. So that's fantastic. I appreciate you calling. I won't say who this is. Don't worry. It's not part of the deal. All right. Well, you can call back anytime that you want, and I won't say who it is. All right? All right. Talk to you later, Tim. Bye. I'm not supposed to say that the Final Cut Pro team, not supposed to mention that they're watching this stream, so I'll say it anyway. They watch the stream. Speaking of the Final Cut Pro team, we want to do this. Thank you for updating Final Cut Pro. Maybe we'll have an update this week, 10.8.2, maybe to catch up with a couple of iPhone 16 Pro Max features. Look, getting the iPhone 16, new iPhone every year, I'm keeping my 15. It's a great phone. If you have a 15, don't have the money, don't worry about it. I like getting a new phone each year, so I'm going to do that. Traveling from outside USA to creative is too expensive, but get with you, whatever, I'm not quite sure that means. So I understand. No, I understand. There's people coming from Australia. Chris Hawking and Ian Anderson are coming from Australia, as far as I know. I'm not sure about Lee Herbert yet. He wasn't sure if he was going to make it or not this year. It's expensive. They got to spend 19 hours on a flight to get here. Crazy. I come from the East Coast, from the Baltimore, Washington area, and I fly into California 5 or 6 hours nonstop. I get the nonstop flight. So that's not too bad. I got the new iPad Pro this year, right? I got it for a couple of reasons. Number one is I got it for LumaFusion. because I want to edit with LumaFusion. But I also got it for the plane ride. I download a whole bunch of television shows, usually a series from Netflix or Amazon Prime, onto the iPad, and I watch it on the flight. It's the best way for me to spend my time when I'm on a flight. The video, put my AirPods in, makes the time go by very, very fast. So that's very, very cool. Does anyone know how many devices an FCP license is good for? I think the purchase of Final Cut Pro used to be good for 7 Macs. I'm sure they would have a limit, but it's for any devices you own. Any devices you personally own. That's one way that it works, but you're not going to have 20 devices. I don't know. They don't really make you log in and stuff, but you have to license it through the App Store. I don't think there's a limit. It's supposed to be however many Macs you own, because it doesn't run on the iPhone or the iPad. At least that version. The iPad version, I don't know. That's just, I don't know how many. But you're not going to run 7 versions of Final Cut Pro, are you? Not at the same time. That would be a bit suspicious. Either if you're in a school setting, I think the terminology is it's good for this one Mac. You buy a license for each Mac, no matter how many people use it. I have iPhone 14 Pro Max. Shall I upgrade to 16 Pro Max? I can use the SSD in a 14 Pro Max to record ProRes. No, you cannot, because the iPhone 14 Pro Max does not have a USB-C port. So you cannot use an SSD on the 14 Pro Max. That reason alone is a good reason to upgrade. If you can't afford the 16, get the 15. The 15 also has a USB-C port. So to answer your question, you cannot record on an SSD with a 14 Pro because it has a Lightning port, not a USB-C port. So if you can afford it, get the Pro Max. If you want to save a little bit of money and have less features, get the 15 Pro Max. That's USB-C, and you can record on SSD. I have more than 20 Macs, but most do not run Final Cut Pro. I have 1, 2, 3 Macs, an iPad Pro. I have some older Macs. PowerPC, remember when they used to do the towers in PowerPC? And an old beige Mac, G3, I think it is. I don't run those, though, of course. We need you as our eyes and give feedback to Apple face-to-face. Well, I did ask the first question at the last Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. Usually we have a Q&A with the Final Cut Pro team, and I asked the first question last time, so I'll certainly ask a question as well. But the other thing is I'll be reporting live from the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. Usually, if I get there in the afternoon on Tuesday, I'll settle into my hotel room, get some supplies. I have to get half and half for my coffee in the morning. I make coffee in my hotel room. So I get some stuff, supplies for snacks at night. Then I'll come to a live stream using Ecamm Live. That's why I bring my MacBook Pro. And I'll be reporting from Final Cut Pro Creative Summit several times each day, usually in the morning. I might do one in the evening. I might do one midday from the lobby area or whatever. I collect old Macs from family and friends. Now, do you live anywhere close to me? I got a few that you can have. PowerPC and something else. I'm not going to use them anymore. It's not going to have a hard drive. I'll pull the hard drive from it because that has my personal information, but I don't have any use for them. PowerPC, I still run my cheese grater. Is it Intel? Yeah, I still run my Intel because that's down in my studio. I got 2 or 3 iMacs downstairs, and I'm not sure if they run or they don't run. One had a black screen. And I'm not going to spend any money to get them fixed. You're probably good for parts. Lincoln, Nebraska. There you go. That's too far. I'm not shipping these anywhere. I'm not going to be bothered with that. I'll hang on to them at some point. So I met, I met Steve Wozniak years and years ago. In Maryland, we have a meetup called Maryland Apple Pie or something like that. And Steve Wozniak came to one of our, I think the 25th anniversary of the group or something like that. We got 137 people watching live right now. Very, very cool. 137 people. Please go subscribe on the YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell. Give it a thumbs up. It's all appreciated. We're back here. I'll be back here next Saturday, if not before. If Final Cut Pro is updated this week, I'll come back on and do a live stream in the afternoon to talk about whatever the update is. Like I said, if it's updated, I think it's only going to be for compatibility with whatever features the iPhone 16 Pro Max has. Now, I'll be getting my Pro Max, if things go as planned, on Friday. I'll do a quick unboxing video. I might come back on live to talk about the new iPhone, whatever. But Saturday, we'll be talking about it. I'll do some filming with it and stuff. Maybe do 120 frames per second ProRes RAW to demonstrate that, and we'll see what else we have. So when we come back next Saturday, I should have my iPhone 16 Pro. I'm keeping my iPhone 15 Pro. Apple offered me a ridiculous $650 for it. There's no way. If I sold it, I sold my 14 Pro. I think they offered the same amount for the 14 Pro. No. I sold it for $900, I think, locally, so on Facebook Marketplace. So if I sold it, I'll sell it locally. My plan is to keep 2 iPhones, the 2 most current years. So next year, when I get the 17, I'll keep the 17 and the 16, and I'll sell my 15 then. $500 from my iPhone 15 Pro Max. See, that's 2 years old. That's not as bad as $650 for a 1-year-old, not even a 1-year-old phone. Daniel says, last quick question, what is your main editing mobile versus your editing studio? You mean editing on a mobile device? That's LumaFusion. I use LumaFusion. Not only can I use it on the iPad, I got the 13-inch iPad Pro for LumaFusion. That's why I got it. If Apple let us buy a version of Final Cut for the iPad, I would buy a version. I'm not giving them $4.99 a month. I'm not even doing the trial. I just don't want it. I got Final Cut on my MacBook Pro. For editing mobile on the iPad, I have LumaFusion. It's a fantastic, fantastic app editor on the iPad, but I can also use it on my phone. I can edit video on my phone. It's much more effective than you think. Here it is. You can't, if you can't see it really, it's a little too bright, but you can actually edit. And it has everything you can edit on a phone with the full-fledged NLE on the phone with LumaFusion. You can't do that with Final Cut, and I really don't anticipate you're going to be able to. I don't think they're going to be able to squish all that stuff in. I don't think they're going to be able to squish all that interface into a phone. I think it's going to be always on the iPad. But LumaFusion, $28, no upgrade fee. $28 for the app. every once in a while they come out with an add-on package. They have a multicam add-on package for $19. They just had something to do with keyframes and stuff, add-on package. And it goes on sale a couple times a year. Usually around NAB, you can get it for $19, and the packs go for $10. So if you want to save money, wait till it goes on sale. Black Friday, it probably goes on sale. It might go on sale around the Creative Summit. I don't know. They've been at the Creative Summit before. No monthly fee. No computers, hardware. Let me see what this says. Can you please recommend if I go for Canon RC5 or Sony, which codecs would work better with Final Cut Pro? I like Sony cameras. I like Panasonic. I'm used to Panasonic. I have a GH4 and I have a GH5 right there. My webcam is a GH5. And now I have a Lumix S5 Mark IIX, which I absolutely love. It's a great full-frame, low-light camera. It's fantastic. But I looked at Sony cameras. I was waiting for them to update them. I would have gotten a Sony camera. I like Sony cameras as well. So they're really cool. What hard drive do you use with that software? A Crucial X9. This is 4 terabyte. 4 terabytes. 4,000 gigabytes on this little hard drive. So that's what I use when I do LumaFusion. I think Final Cut for iPhone might come. It's possible. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they're going to stick to the iPad. I would be surprised if they can do what LumaFusion did, editing mobile on the phone. Now, the thing about LumaFusion is, look at this guy. Here we are, Tawnytown, Maryland, with Wolfstock 2024, benefiting all the animals. So that's a little video I shot. Here's what I did. I shot it live at the event. It was an Animal Humane Society event. They were fundraising. I shot it, edited together in LumaFusion while I was there, and then I broadcast the edited video all on the phone. I had my DJI Mike. No iPad, no MacBook Pro, cellular. It's great. I can shoot video, do an edit on the phone, and then shoot it out live on my cellular. That's what I'll be doing some of the time at the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. I'm not going to do it all the time because I like my MacBook Pro and Ecamm Live, which does not run on iPad. Do you think the Mac Mini is coming soon? I think they're going to update the Mac Mini in October to M4 Pro. I forgot to say what laptop and desktop. So right now I'm running on a 2021 M1 Max MacBook Pro. I got it maxed out, 64 gigabytes of RAM, the best graphics, 4 terabyte SSD. I haven't jumped to the 8 terabyte yet. They're so expensive. I'll at least get another. If I might get the MacBook Pro in October. Well, when the iPhone comes out, I want to get it right away. So I'm on there ordering as soon as it's available. I want it as soon as everybody else gets it. The MacBook Pro, no. I don't need it day one. This one I did that, but I'm not going to do the new one. So I might get the M4 MacBook Pro, but when I priced it, it's like $5,000 to $6,000 for what I want. I might just keep my M1. I'm going to keep my M1 Max. I'm not going to sell it because it's too valuable to me. I might get the Mac Mini to save a few $1,000s for my home base. We'll have to see. I really like my setup, though. I really like the setup. I have two screens, 34-inch LG monitor, or smaller generic HD monitor, 4K monitor over here, and then right below me I have my MacBook Pro. So I have a third screen right there. I really like that setup. You know, if I had unlimited funds, I would just get the MacBook Pro. because it's going to be great. But we'll have to see. I'm due, because I'm at 2021 on an M1 Max. If they're going to be an M4 and an M4 Max, 3 years ago I bought this computer, and it was expensive then, so. New Mac Mini supposed to be the size of Apple TV. That's correct. That's what I've heard too. They've downscaled it. We'll have to see what kind of specs. I'm not in any hurry to get a new Mac. My Mac's running fine. I do want the iPhone the first day it's available though. So that's coming next Friday. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. We got 145 people watching live right now. Very, very cool. I think our record's like 200, something like that. As long as you're watching, I'll keep talking. Let's see what we got here. Look at this. 145 people are watching live right now. I'll be back probably one or two more times this coming week. Number one, if there's a Final Cut Pro update 10.8.2 to tie in with the new iPhone features. And number two is when I get my iPhone, I'll come back on and do a quick unboxing and do some test footage and stuff. Have to run. Good show. Have a great weekend all. Thank you, everybody. Everybody say hi before we get out of here. New iPad mini too. Yeah, I'm not going to get an iPad mini. I got the iPad Pro, the 13-inch, and I'm completely set with that. All right, everyone. I can't tell you that the Final Cut Pro team is watching this live stream, but they are. I can't tell you. I can whisper that the Final Cut Pro team is watching this live stream. I can't tell you. I got a phone call a little while ago that said, don't talk about the iPhone team, the iPad Pro team watching the live stream. They do watch it, and we want to always give accolades to the Final Cut Pro team. Thank you, each and every one, but every person on the team. We really like everybody. We want some more features in Final Cut Pro. Hopefully, Final Cut Pro 11 has a lot of great features and is a big update. Whenever that comes, if it comes at the summit or after the summit, whatever. But we're excited. It's great times coming up. Don't forget the Creative Summit. Let me pull that up real quick. Well, first off, don't forget you can support me over there at buymeacoffee.com/Richard Taylor. That's how all the money doesn't go for coffees. It's going to go for breakfast. It might go for a hamburger and fries. I'll be definitely doing that some of the time at the Creative Summit. The next event is the Creative Summit. So buymeacoffee.com, buy a coffee for $5. I appreciate each and every one of you for stopping by. I appreciate your financial support. If you buy me a coffee, it is appreciated. Now, let me see. Here we go. Let's go here. I don't think there's anything new. Here. This is where the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit is. FCP Creative Summits with an S, plural.com. You can register now. I don't think the program's up yet. It's still early, so they have 2 months yet. They'll get the program organized. Yeah, it's going to be announced. The only thing they've announced is Wednesday, November 13th will feature Apple Day. That's the day we're going to Apple Park. See a presentation from the Final Cut Pro team. Of course, everybody can't afford to go, but 100 to 150 to 200 of us can. I'll be your eyes and ears. I will open up a virtual window into the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit for all of the watchers, all the listeners, everybody that watches this show. I will be there. I'm not going to report 24/7. I'll do a live stream in the morning. I'll probably do a live stream in the evening, depending on what's going on, at least a short one. The longer one will be in the morning when I'm rested and have my coffee and stuff. In the evening, sometimes I get tired. I might do a quick one, and I'll shoot some live streams with my iPhone. That's really, really cool. I can do that with my iPhone. Those are shorter ones, but I'll be filming, interviewing people, going behind the scenes, etc., etc. Very cool. I'm going to do the iPhone lapel microphone video maybe tomorrow or Monday, and I'll put it up and put it on my YouTube channel. Subscribe over there at the YouTube channel. Absolutely. We will keep the secret too and not tell Apple you tell us. Absolutely. Once again, we want to do the Final Cut Pro team. Give them some balloons this time. Thank you, Final Cut Pro team. We love you. We want to see more features in Final Cut. All right, everyone. My name is Richard Taylor. This is Final Cut TV and coffee every Saturday at 12 noon, sometimes at 10 noon or 11, usually at 12 noon. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We had 145 people watching live at any point. We still have 140 watching live right now, but I do have to get out of here. We've been on the air for 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's our friend Brett. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Tell your friends, your Final Cut Pro friends, Final Cut TV and coffee every Saturday morning, but I'll be back when I get my iPhone 15 Pro Max, do some test footage. I'm going to do some tests with lapel mics that work with the iPhone and my DJI mic system. Got one more comment. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to get out of here, get ready for my Saturday evening. Thank you, each and every one of you. Listen, I have the best Final Cut Pro live audience in the world. I have the best. This is for you. This is for all the people who watch and come to these live streams and support the channel and tell your friends, etc., etc. Thank you very much. I'm going to get out of here. I'll talk to y'all before next Saturday, because I think there's going to be a Final Cut Pro update. But if not, when my iPhone gets here next Friday, we'll be back on the air live. Talk to everybody later.